got your flannel on?
Girl, because it's, when it gets chilly, it's flannel season.
Is it chilly?
It is chilly here. I mean, it's, it's, it's not cold. I mean, I'm not over on the East Coast freezing it off, but, it's put a little flannel on when you're walking around the house. Be comfortable.
It's warm here, as usual.
Still warm there. Well, warm, cold, whatever. This is our Dishing with Sissy episode right before Halloween. So we decided to do a trick or treat theme, but instead of trick or treat, we're doing trick and treat. Do you want to explain what that's all about?
Okay, so on my end, what I understand it, I am going to do a trick to get a quick meal prepared using leftovers from the freezer, items on hand, so that I can prepare a treat.
That is ingenious. My trick and treat is I've got a trick to show you how to make an amazing chili that is going to taste like it has been on the stove all day, and it really is ready in about 15 minutes. It's actually, we had a Halloween tradition when the kids were little, and before they went out, because we lived in Maryland, so it got really cold at the end of October. So before we went trick-or-treating, I'd put a big old pot of chili on the stove that morning or that afternoon, and they'd eat chili, and then they'd go out trick-or-treating, and they'd come home, and they'd have hot chocolate or hot apple cider, and then they'd have a few treats. So I'm kind of going back to that old school. So I'm going to show you how to make a really good, quick trick to making a good, fast chili. And then I've got a special treat.
Guess what I had in the freezer that I'm making a quick meal with?
Are you going to tell me now?
Leftover chili. Hey.
Okay. Oh my gosh, you make me laugh. You make my heart smile. I love our conversations because they're just okay. Well.
Hello, welcome back to my kitchen. As we discussed, we're making a trick and or treat themed episode. Sissy and I are both doing something with chili. So my dish is going to be a trick using leftovers from the freezer and items on hand to make a meal so that I can make a fabulous treat. I'm going to be making chili spaghetti with cheese on top. So super easy. I took some chili out of the freezer. I have it heating up in the pan behind me. And I'm going to make some, actually not spaghetti, it's fettuccine. Going to make some fettuccine and put some cheese on top of it. So that's super easy. That's going to heat. I got water boiling for the fettuccine. And then we'll come back in a minute and I'm going to get started on what the treat will be. I got my mixer here and I got some goodies in a measuring cup.
Howdy, and welcome to the Trick and Treat edition of Dishing with Sissy. That's right, instead of doing tricks or treats, we're doing both. Why not both? So my trick is going to show you how to make a very quick, very delicious chili recipe that's only going to take 15 minutes, but it's going to taste like you've been working on it all day long. The treat is then going to be one of my fall favorites. A lot of people this time of year are looking forward to the pumpkin this, pumpkin that, pumpkin spice, pumpkin whatever. While I do enjoy pumpkin, I prefer apples, pears, and caramel. To me, that's fall. That's what I remember. So I'm going to put together as a treat for you an apple and pear crisp with caramel drizzle over top of it.
As you can see, I have my mixer here. I have this beautiful green ceramic bowl that Sissy sent me, and I'm going to make something delicious. This is Steve's request for some brownies. So I'm going to make some walnutty, chocolatey brownies. Going to get started. I have the oven preheating. Actually, I don't. I'm going to get it preheating. I've got my dry ingredients here. I've got 3/4 cup of flour, some granulated sugar, unsweetened cocoa powder, baking powder, and salt. I'm going to get started. I've got to melt some butter and measure some other ingredients. Oh, I've got here the dry ingredients. I'm going to put them in the mixer. Give them a little stir. The pasta is boiling in the pot. I got to break up this brown sugar a little bit in here. I had put everything in here to get it ready, so we've got the flour, cocoa powder, yumminess in there. We've got milk. It is 1/3 cup of milk and 1/4 cup of, or 1/2 cup of bittersweet chocolate melted in the microwave. I'm going to pour that in there. Scrape it out. I am not really much of a baker. I like savory foods versus sweet foods. So the baking that I do is mostly for the grandkids or the husband. I'd rather eat French fries or something versus sweet stuff. So anyway, I have here some butter, melted butter. I'll pour that in and start mixing this up a little bit. Get this in here. I'm just going to put it on low just to mix it all up together. 2 eggs lightly beaten and 1/4 cup of the nuts. And I'm going to let it get incorporated.
Hey, so again, my trick tonight is to show you how to make a really quick chili that's going to taste like it's been on the stove all day. We're going to start with some olive oil, and we're just going to get that nice and hot in here and get it ready for we're going to saute onions and garlic, and we're going to cook 1 pound of ground beef or whatever ground protein you want to use. I've actually used, I like to combine things. I've used bison and ground turkey. That's a good one I used to use often when the kids were little. Just regular ground beef and ground chicken. I like to change it up a little bit. So for this one, I'm just going to be using 1 pound of ground beef, and we'll put that in there after we saute the onions. So in a hot pan, my soup pan. It's a Dutch oven, but it's my favorite go-to for making soups. We've got about 2/3 of a large yellow onion. And then we're going to just grate some garlic in here. And I like a little bit of garlic to taste, so I'm going to leave it just a little bit chunky. I have the garlic and onion are sauteed. About halfway through that, I've added the ground beef because they're going to continue to cook once the ground beef is added. But the ground beef is in there. Everything is sizzling and bubbling. The ground beef is browned. So this is where we just add in everything else we're going to add into this real quick trick of a delicious chili. I'm going to start with some green chili peppers. Just a small can. I'm going to add, of course, some salt, some black pepper, some ground white pepper. About a teaspoon and a half of each. I have some cayenne pepper, about a teaspoon of cayenne pepper that I'm going to add. I have a envelope of chili mix. Now, you can use regular chili powder, or you can get the mix, which has a blend of several different chili type spices in it. That's going to give you quick, delicious chili flavor. And my favorite pasta sauce. I'm just going to add this in, maybe about a little bit more than a half, maybe again 2/3 of a large jar. And now some people would say, that's it, there's your chili. In Texas, they would say, that's it, that's your chili. However, I'm from the north, and in Maryland, we actually add beans to our chili. So that's going to be the big debate, right? So beans in chili, yes or no? You can post your suggestions, recommendations, thoughts about that in the comment section below. But I happen to really like dark red. I don't know why the dark red, but I prefer the dark red kidney beans. So I'm going to add 2 cans of kidney beans. Now, you'll notice I drained the water out of it pre. I did leave just a little bit in because that also acts as a thickening agent for the chili. A lot of flavors. I'm going to add just a little bit. Yes, I added garlic, but I'm going to add just a little bit of garlic powder as well. Maybe a tablespoon. Because garlic powder tastes different than regular garlic does. I just like the flavor of it. So we're going to add that. Now we're just going to, while it's bubbling, I'm going to put this down on low, put the top on it, and call it done. The trick is on, the treat is coming. And there is nothing I like more in the fall than pear. I have some beautiful Bartlett pears here, and apples. Yes, I do like pumpkins, but I'm really an apple pear caramel kind of girl. So when I think of the fall and the smells, when it brings back, it triggers those memories of when we were young. Mom used to make this wonderful apple crisp. And I don't know why you don't make it like throughout the year, but it seems like you only make it in the fall. Like there's no rule on the books that says that you can't make an apple crisp in February or May. But it seems like we always just made it around this time of year. So maybe that's why it kind of triggers those happy memories. So I'm doing a twist on the traditional apple crisp. I'm doing pears and apples. I'm doing a pear apple crisp with cinnamon chips, and I'm going to do a caramel drizzle over top.
Got this chocolatey batter in here. I'm just going to mix it up a little bit, make sure it's all together. So there is some dryness at the bottom. I'm going to mix that up. And then we have some more walnuts. I love walnuts in brownies. I got another half a cup of walnuts, and I have a half a cup of chocolate chunks. It's going to be like little lava chocolatey bites in the brownie. So I'm going to just stir this up. I've got a pan, 9 by 13 pan. Actually, I think it's 8 by 13. I'm going to just mix this up. And that's that. Chocolatey, walnutty goodness.
We are dishing up a treat tonight. We have apple pear crisp bites with cinnamon chips and a caramel drizzle over top. I have the pear and apple have been chopped, peeled and cored, of course, and then chopped. I used 2 Bartlett pears, a half of a Granny Smith apple, and a half of a Red Delicious. So we've got the sweet, we've got the tart. It's going to just build more layers of flavor in this mini bite-sized piece of goodness. So to this, we are going to add about 1/4 cup of brown sugar. We are going to add 1/3 cup of regular sugar. We're going to add 2 1/4 tablespoons of flour. One heaping teaspoon of nutmeg. And we're just going to mix this all around. Once you get everything in there mixed around, stirred in and mixed up real nice, we're going to add about 1/2 cup of cinnamon chips. Love baking with these. They're absolutely delicious. I like to substitute them in recipes that call for cinnamon, or just add to the cinnamon that's already in the recipe. There we go. That's our filling. I'm going to pop this in the oven, which is preheated to 375. And I'm going to leave it in there for about, 12 to 15 minutes, or until the apples are really soft. And then we'll take it out and we'll fill up these little yummy cups over here. Okay, we are almost ready to put our treat together. Just to kind of show you what I did outside of this, because I had to prepare the graham cracker crusts prior, and they had to be cooled down before we can add the filling to them. So prior to the start, I actually did these in advance. It was 2 cups of graham cracker crumbs. Now you can crush them yourself, you can pulverize them in a chopper, or you can actually buy them. Yes, friends, you can buy them already crumbled. So you just pour 2 cups and you're done. You take the 2 cups of graham cracker crumbs, add in a 1/2 cup of powdered sugar, and 12, you heard that, 12 tablespoons of melted butter. You're going to put that in a bowl, cream it all together so it almost looks like sand. Now, this is what it looked like before I baked it. So it looks like a little bit of sand. You're going to have some left over after you fill your 24 mini muffins, which is great because we're going to use these to top these when these go back in the oven. So I have a little bit here. So those go in the oven for about 5 minutes on 350, just to get them a nice golden brown. And again, you want them completely cooled before you add your apple filling. We're going to fill our tins with our filling. I've got a little teaspoon here. It's almost a perfect size. Pop it right in there. There you go. Our mini apple pear crisps have been filled. We're going to pop those back in the oven. Again, I turned it down from 375 down to 350. I'm going to put these back in for about 5 minutes. Let them kind of cook and gel a little bit. Then they need to totally cool, and we'll drizzle some caramel over the top of those.